Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. Spotter said it was clear. It wasn't clear, and, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I felt. I called him out. He didn't show. And so I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out until it was too late. It's a shame. Love their riblets and boneless wings, but...
Well, all right, folks. Welcome back to Meet Me at Applebee's, your number one unrefined motorsports podcast. It's Brian here with Rob and Ashley, and the season has begun. Daytona has come and gone, and we're here to talk about it. So, folks, how we doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Brian. I think whatever sickness you had last week, I don't know if that was discussed on the show at all. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I seem to have picked that up from you, so thanks for that.
Through the internet.
Yeah, it's a very annoying, hey, we're sitting at a table together in a real Applebee's. Don't break kayfabe. How you doing, True Love?
I'm okay. The sickness hasn't reached me yet. We'll see how next week unfolds after
you're going to the track.
Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Is it going to be cold?
There's a cold front moving in that day, so...
Sweet.
Can't wait.
Let's see. Hold on. I got to look up and see what you consider cold.
Well, factor in not the temperature. Look at the feels like temperature with the 30-degree winds.
And the wind of the pack, yeah.
Yeah, and it's supposed to rain and windy. Yeah, that's going to suck. That won't be fun.
Well, the rain's going to end before the race, but 30-mile-per-hour winds, 30 degrees. So.
Yeah, you're going to have a time.
That's going to be good.
Yep. It'll be fine.
Well, God's just looking at you and judging you for not going to Bowman Gray, and so now you're going to get it on this end in Atlanta.
Yep. It's like 70 degrees here today, so.
Perfect.
It was yeah.
Oh, well. But Daytona, it was nice and warm down there, I guess. Or maybe it wasn't, actually. They were pretty bundled up for qualifying and the duels.
But it doesn't matter. Everything got ran, so that's what was important. And, we're not even near Daytona yet, or near the 500 yet. But shout out to NASCAR for making the smartest decision of the weekend and moving the race up an hour Sunday because it rained about a half hour after they were done, so that would have totally fucked the finish. And also, I really enjoyed the fact that they, finished while it was still light out. That took me back. So that was
nice. We haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
Usually it's like 2 a.m. on Monday morning or a Tuesday afternoon or some fucked up shit like that. So I really enjoyed a normal Daytona 500.
Yeah, but that's we're gonna get to that. We gotta start with where we left off last week. Pole qualifying, that was Thursday, and it was qualifying. There's not a ton to talk about. Wednesday, whatever. Wednesday, Thursday, fuck it.
Before we get into it, real quick, I just want to say to True Love, make sure when you go to Atlanta that you bring a nice jacket and some warm clothes, obviously, maybe some lawn johns and some gloves. And speaking of gloves, Noah Gragson was more than happy to show his off on the broadcast for pole qualifying.
Yeah, that was.
Of course, NASCAR made it very clear to everyone on Earth that you're not supposed to stick your hand up against the window to gain an aero advantage or for any reason whatsoever. And this fucking dumbass just goes right out there and hangs that old hot dog out the window and immediately gets busted. It's not like he had a good lap going or anything. All the front row cars were kind of slow in qualifying. It doesn't really mean much at Daytona, but still, he qualified 29th, 30th, something like that, and had to go to the back because he stuck his hand out the window. And he claims he just forgot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
perpetually hungover.
Yeah. What?
I'm sure it won't be the only stupid thing he does this season. So nice to get one out of the way before you even hit the track for an official race. So
yeah, not to pile on Noah too much. I think NASCAR did a decent job of doing that with the penalty. But did you guys see that video where they had a bunch of drivers in a room? It was from Media Day. They're asking questions about each other. Did you see this?
What questions were they asking?
So it's a pretty funny video. You should watch it. This new NASCAR social media team is doing a good job. But it was basically like, which of the drivers you'd let date your sister, which one was gonna wreck the most. Of course, Hocevar was the winner of that one. That was pretty funny. And then they asked which driver out there is the smartest. And everyone except for Noah was like, yeah, no one here is really all that smart. And I guess Brad Keselowski got a mention. William Byron got one because he's got a college degree. I don't know what his degree was in from Liberty, but that's up for debate. But everyone said somebody else except for Noah, who said, well, man, I kind of hide it, but I know some things. I think I'm pretty smart. So
That's his own Austin Hill moment.
yeah, keep hiding it, bud. But anyway.
So Wednesday, there wasn't really a whole lot to report. It's just qualifying, but both Justin Allgaier and Corey Heim, they both made it in on speed. Anthony Alfredo also did. They weren't.
No, that's the
they
next
weren't at
thing.
this point. I'm getting my fucking info all mixed up. Too much racing the
Well,
last
it's right
few
there
days.
in the notes. Just read it.
I'm looking at the notes. God damn it.
Yeah, Allgaier, he went out pretty early. He had an early draw and put down a pretty decent lap. And I don't think anybody from the Junior Motorsports crew was expecting that. But, he locked into the show. I think everyone was happy to see that. And I got to say that car looked a lot better on television than it did in the render they released.
Yeah, I
Very
agree.
pretty car.
Yeah.
Good.
Kyle Busch got the pole, which was nice to see. Obviously, it didn't really translate to Sunday as much, but still nice to
Did
see
you buy
them.
that zone flavor, Brian?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm not. It's jalapeno lime, and that does not appeal to me.
Could go either way.
But no, I haven't seen it anywhere. The car looked great, though. The car looked very, very good, so I hope to make a shirt of that.
It just looks like a fucking can of Zone. That's why you like it.
Well, yeah. It's gorgeous. What is the fucked up graphic? I must have missed this because nothing's sticking
It
out of
was
my
the
head.
one where they posted the top 10 qualifiers, and they had every one of their vehicle makes wrong, every one of their team names.
Oh, right.
wrong.
Yeah,
Chase Elliott had nothing.
Yeah, just no info provided.
Yeah, it was a jumbled mess. So great job, Fox.
So yeah, Fox made a lot of improvements, but this was Wednesday, so they were still ironing things out.
They also spelled Jimmy Johnson with a Y at the end of Jimmy. So
Well, while we're getting misspellings out of the way, also on Sunday there was a graphic for Sterling Marlin, but the name was spelled Martin, so
Sterling
massive fuck up there. So.
I wonder if they're using AI to do that.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. There was a bunch of AI shit they were doing. So yeah,
AI
without a
or
doubt.
whippersnappers or both.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving on to the duels on Thursday. So the first one was a shit show. The second one was pretty clean. There was a wreck involving Casey Mears and Noah Gragson. Basically, Casey just spun, coming into his pits. And we saw for the first time, I think, the air jacks used to lift the car up off the ground. It worked perfect. And I saw it used a couple times over the weekend, and it no issues. So that was very nice to see, and obviously saves a lot of time as far as getting people out of the way and back in the pits. So that was good. Was LaJoy in the first one or the second one? He was in the first one, right?
Yeah.
He wrecked. That's right. He wrecked in the last turn. There was a wreck.
A lot of people try and depend on it being a skill issue, and I don't really know if there's anything he could have really done in that situation. I'm still going to pin it on skill issue just because I don't like him. But, John Hunter Nemechek pinched the bottom lane. The air got kind of messed up, and I think, was it Keselowski in front of him?
I think so.
Yeah, he checked up a little bit, and then Suarez was coming and just a little touch in the back end, and that was it for Corey LaJoy.
Yep.
And all those beautiful Roush Fenway shirts that they made with all four cars immediately shipped off to Africa in a shipping container to be distributed because you can't sell those anymore.
However, the one thing I will say about this incident was it was the first moment of the weekend where NASCAR just let the cars run the flag, let him finish the lap, and they continued this throughout the weekend, both at stage breaks and, obviously the end of the 500. So
we also can't forget that Casey Mears just absolutely stuck his foot in the floor during that wreck.
Yep, he did. Drove right through everything and fucking
everyone in his way. Yeah,
just made it. So that was cool.
That was awesome.
Definitely was not expecting him. I mean, LaJoy was in until he wrecked, but very happy he didn't make it in, so that's fine.
Yeah, I think Suarez saw that 99 and didn't appreciate LaJoy being behind the wheel of it.
Yeah,
Suarez is just pissed.
Gave him a little extra tap.
Not having a good time.
And then Suarez tried to blame that wreck on SVG somehow, so he really just hates all of his past life, I think.
It seems like it. But yeah, I don't really see how that was anything but just a racing deal. It was shit getting jacked up at the end of a race, It's kind of what you expect at super speedway racing or races. So I don't know. I don't really, as much as I'd love to blame Corey for that, and I will anyway, just because I'm smart like Noah is, it wasn't really his fault.
So yeah, who won? I know Chase won. Logano won the first one, and people were very excited because he just went straight to victory lane, didn't do the front stretch interview. But for Chase Elliott winning the second one, they did the front stretch interview, and they did it throughout the weekend. So unfortunately, we're not losing that yet. But yeah, the second race was very clean. I don't even think, was there any cautions in race 2? I think it was just start to finish, just going.
I don't think so. I mean, it was a little dicey here and there because there was all those very green flag fuel stops and slower packs trying to block faster packs, and there could have been some bad wrecks, but they all kept it pretty clean.
Yeah, we also got to see the first instance of somebody riding around at the back of the pack at like 40% throttle with Justin Allgaier. He dropped to the back in his duel. I think that was duel 2 actually, and he just literally like 35-40% the whole time, and I was like, is that an error? Because I know they obviously run slower. That's a conversation we're going to have in a little bit when we talk about the 500 itself, but I didn't know you could hang with the pack at 40% throttle, and it turns out you can. That's what everybody did all weekend, but that was the first real glimpse of just how slow these guys were going to, either how slow they're going to race this weekend or how slow you can go and still keep the pack within reach.
Yeah. And unfortunately, our hero, BJ McLeod, did not make the race. Or did he? Or did he? Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, in here in the notes, we've got a picture of John Hunter Nemechek that everybody was kind of alarmed by. Yeah. Now, me, as the eye expert on the show, I was aware that John Hunter Nemechek had a wonky eye, but this particular photo, he's looking like almost Shawn Michaels-esque. His one eye is like a good inch deeper than his other one, and how did you describe him, Rob?
It looks like he's about to steal all the copper from the job site.
Yes.
That's what he looks like. Yeah, man, I've never
all
seen...
these photos were bad. The lighting is terrible.
Yeah, that harsh white, and then just like I mean, Brian was saying, he's like, this has got to be AI, but maybe it is, I don't know. But yeah, not the best photo of John Hunter. I did not know he looked like that. I had no idea.
And we got a fan submission. Now, somebody was standing for the entire duels. Like a couple people were standing for the entire duels, which obviously we do not advocate this. We are very much, sit down. Like as soon as everybody else starts sitting down, everybody should sit down. But in saying that, there's like nobody in the crowd here, so they get a tiny bit of a pass. But it's also the duels. Why are you fucking standing the whole time?
Sit your ass down. Sit down. We don't need to be doing that. All that beautiful grandstand, the nicest seats in all of racing. Sit down.
Yeah. And as I just mentioned, so Anthony Alfredo was the last car to make it in Duel 2. And as we were signing off the broadcast, our old buddy BJ McLeod came over and to give a conciliatory hug and a peck on the cheek. And it turned out to be the kiss of death because only, minutes later, Anthony Alfredo's car was disqualified for... There were like hoses that weren't riveted in or something. Like it was a very minor thing, but enough to where it DQ'd him, and that got BJ in the race. So not exactly the way you want to do it, but still nice to see our pal in the race. And Dude Wipes didn't make it, unfortunately. So
Yeah, when he came in and kissed him, I sat up on my couch.
I could not text the group chat fast enough.
Yeah, I was like, did you guys see what I just saw? There's no way he kissed him. And then I spent the next 10 minutes, and I think I missed...
the Dale Doc.
Yes, actually, I did miss the Dale Doc because I was trying to rewind it to catch it just perfectly, and I've been using the Fox One app, which, by the way, for anyone out there who doesn't have cable or a reliable Fox antenna signal, I think it's like what, $15 a month, something like that. Certainly far less than YouTube TV or Sling or any of those other services, and they pretty much cover everything that the NASCAR is going to be doing, with the exception of the O'Reilly series coming up. Hey, I got it right. Did you guys catch that? The O'Reilly series. Yep. God damn, good look at me. But yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal if you don't have cable and you want to catch all the FS1 stuff, plus the IndyCar season, which I don't think the entire year is going to be on Fox. Big Fox this year, so...
I thought it was. I thought that was the whole deal, was all the races are on Fox.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but Indy qualifying and all that. Anyway, it's a economy option if you're trying to watch it and not have to use an illegal stream or go to your uncle's house or some shit.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that brings us to Friday, and the actual race is beginning. So the Truck Series, that was Friday night. And, as we've mentioned on the show, our good buddy Kyle Ayala, this is his first ever race, running the pit crew for Cletus McFarland. Yep. But the big news to us personally was our boy Mike Harmon was spotting that night for Cletus.
Yes. And
not only that, Kyle, met Mike and told him about our show and played the intro to the show for Mike, and he loved it. So
perfect.
We've already got Mike's number. He is going to be on the show this year. We are going to do it. It is going to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah, Mike Harmon is an unsung hero of NASCAR racing. There's no question about that. He gets kind of, I think I've said this on the show plenty of times, but he's most known for some of the goofier moments, like inviting someone to fight him at Applebee's and silly shit like that. But that dude has grinded for a very long time, and I would love to have him on here. So we'll try and make that happen. If not, shout out Mike Harmon.
It's happening.
He knows we exist now. That's fucking awesome.
I'm manifesting this out in the universe. He's going to be on the show this year. It'll happen.
Yeah, he's a dog.
But anyway, so speaking of Kyle, he actually briefly made it on TV during the national anthem. Excuse me. He was shown on TV with Cletus. So
I screamed.
We were definitely hoping to see him on TV a bit more, but unfortunately that didn't happen because Cletus managed to wreck himself on lap 7 of the race.
Yep. It didn't last long.
He didn't do the bright thing and run to, just drop to the back and get some experience. He decided to try and run with the pack when he had no business doing so, and he paid the price for it. So we did not get to see our pal on TV anymore, but I'm sure we will at some point again because, he is hired for the whole season. So.
Yeah, that's not the end of the line for him for sure.
Yeah.
I was bummed to not get to see Kyle do a live pit stop that day, but
I know.
Yeah, for sure.
The one thing
it'll come.
The one thing that did run through my head was at least, not saying he would, but if Kyle were to make a mistake on television because he's, pitting the second most popular driver in the entire series, that would be something I couldn't imagine doing, and at least he didn't have to face that down in Daytona, and Cletus did it for him. So,
yeah,
we have full faith in Kyle.
He did tell us that he got to stay at the Days of Thunder hotel too, so he was really living his NASCAR fan dream.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that experience must have felt like. I said to him, I remember when I was the first time I ever went to a racetrack on business. Not that I was anything serious, nothing near the level he was doing, and I thought I was on cloud fucking 13. It was unbelievable, and I can't imagine what it's like to roll through the tunnel at Daytona and have a hard car and be on the roster and stand out there during the prayer and the flyovers and all that. I can't even imagine what that must have felt like. So we're all real proud of you, bub.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dana White, obviously he has some sort of brand ambassador role with Ram trucks, and he was in the booth, and I must not have been paying attention, but apparently he was being weird. I mean, it's Dana White, so it's not really a surprise.
Yeah, it's about what you'd expect.
It's about as awkward as it could be. It was him and Jamie Little and Harvick and Logano standing in the booth. I don't know why they were up there talking for so long, but
He was up there a long
Dana,
time.
Yes, and he stared at the floor the entire time. He never once looked in the camera. I think he was drunk, so
You'll have that.
super
sometimes.
awkward.
Yeah. As far as the race itself goes, honestly, very clean race. I mean, obviously, the Cletus thing happened, and there were a couple other small wrecks, but there was no big one.
Lots of tire issues. Carson Hocevar blew a couple of them, and then
Carson spun like 6 times throughout the.
He was just having a good time after a while, just putting a truck 3 laps down wherever it needed to go, and two of the wrecks that really put him behind the 8 ball. There was just tire failures, and there was a couple other ones. I forget who they were.
Yeah, there were a few that happened.
Tony Stewart got caught up in someone else's wreck.
Yeah, that was the bummer, and it was very funny. I had his radio on when that happened, and they're kind of like hemming and hawing, like, should we come back out here? And like, I'm not racing for points. What's the point? And but he did kind of. I mean, who knows? Maybe he was just saying it for TV, but. He did kind of say, maybe this isn't the last time you'll see me. So,
speaking of smoke, we didn't put this in the notes, but this is definitely worth mentioning. Bob Pockris asked him, Tony Stewart, in the presser, if he'd seen Steve O'Donnell yet. Mm-hmm. Of course, they had it was very. I don't know if you guys know this. There was a lawsuit involving NASCAR and all that, and it came out in Discovery that Steve O'Donnell was not a fan of SRX and vowed to crush it. And they haven't talked since. So Tony said, "Nah, I'm gonna let him do his thing." What did he say? It was like, if he sees me, we'll have it out, or some shit like that.
Yeah,
very classic.
If he sees me, that's his problem, or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
God, it was good to have Tony Stewart back as a driver. I don't know if you guys are fans of him or not, but I certainly was.
Massive respect for Tony.
Yeah, it was nice to have that energy back around in the garage for at least one night.
I missed his sass.
Yes.
Yeah. And as far as the race itself, so Chandler Smith won in a very thrilling finish. I'll give him that. I mean, he was another one that him and Ty Majeski linked up, and even though they're not teammates or anything, I mean, I think they're both Fords, but like basically they were probably 5th or 6th coming out of turn 3, and I forget who else is up front, but the first 4 cars were kind of beating and banging and to get to the line, and Chandler and Ty just snuck in the bottom.
Yeah, John Nemechek.
Yeah, and they just snuck in the bottom and passed him in the trials, and I don't think any of us are Chandler Smith fans, but you have to respect that finish. It was great, and it was clean, and it was a very good race. So hats off to the trucks for not embarrassing themselves. So that was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So moving on to Saturday now.
We're not gonna talk about Natalie Decker at all.
She wasn't. She was in the race Saturday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or Arca.
Yeah. Well, Arca was Saturday, dummy. That's why I said Saturday.
It's all the same.
I had a couple things I wanted to mention about Friday that I forgot to put in the notes. So Friday night after the truck race, Arby's had an activation in Daytona at the Daytona Arby's where they moved out all the tables in the Arby's and had Jimmy Eat World play. So
they played 2 songs. I looked
Arby's.
up they're 2 big hits they played.
That's pretty cool.
That's still neat.
Very a weird choice. I mean, I don't. They're fine. Like they have a couple songs I like, but just very odd choice. But I feel like that's a Junior pick, maybe. Like I think Junior likes them, so.
Yeah, well, I like Jimmy Eat Worlds. I would have been fucking thrilled to have seen that inside of an Arby's with my curly fries in hand, horsey
My
sauce,
free airbrush T-shirt that was made in the parking lot.
Sauces all over the place. Just it's a good emo show.
Wendy's, the local Wendy's also had a little activation where they turned their drive-through into like a racetrack.
Wendy's
they added
Speedway,
banking and lights and had a pit crew that would come out and clean your window while you were waiting and all that. And my friend Clayton that was down at the 500 this weekend, he said he went to Hooters one night across the street from the Speedway, and they were so overwhelmed that they were just letting fans bring in their coolers and drink from their coolers. So.
God damn, that's awesome.
Did on all these restaurants.
One note on the Wendy's thing, I was thinking about this. Can you imagine if you're just like a Daytona local and you're on your lunch break and you pull into that Wendy's and now you have to deal with all this bullshit? Like, yeah, it's nice to get your windshield cleaned and your tire pressure checked, but like,
Well,
I gotta get back to fucking work.
as someone who lived down there and like drove past Daytona to get to, there's a skate park not too far past the speedway. It is weird, like just driving past the speedway when nothing's going on.
Right, yeah.
Because it's just like a normal suburban, fucking shopping plaza across the street from the track. So
Yeah, with a mile of concrete right next to you.
yeah, it's strange for sure. All right, so is that everything for Friday?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, we talked about Jamie Little's bag call. I don't remember that. She wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't paying attention to her. So
Yeah.
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 And just like ARCA, I didn't watch a fucking second of that. Did you guys watch the ARCA race?
I was on
I did, yeah.
Valentine's Day at the pool room, so I did not watch it.
Oh, so I'm the only one who watched it. Okay, well,
I know Gio won.
Gio won, yes. This was another one that was a pretty boring race. There were a couple spins, but there was no big one. Again, ARCA did not fucking destroy themselves. How insane is that? There were a couple spins. Cletus managed to avoid a couple, and there was a replay on TV because, they showed Cletus's in-car as he's avoiding some wreck, and you could hear him screaming over the engine of the car that he'd missed the wreck. So they replayed that like 16 times.
Yeah.
And I forget who was, so it was like 1 or 2 to go. I forget who was leading, but the 2 cars that were leading spun each other out.
It was the Finch kid. Yeah, Gio spun him, and that's how Gio won. Gio Ruggiero getting kind of a reputation for being a little too aggressive, but at the end of the day, it's ARCA, and Jake Finch will get his someday. But I think that's like the 3rd ARCA Daytona race that Finch has been wrecked out of the lead in, so that's got to get real frustrating.
Yeah. So yeah, that that was ARCA. It was fine. I mean, I wasn't watching it incredibly closely, but it was, again, a normal race, and nothing incredibly embarrassing happened.
I saw that Cletus finished 11th, so he must have been humbled by the truck race.
Yeah. Well, he was running in the back most of the day and really just doing his best to not do anything stupid. So, like I said, he did avoid a couple spins and was just there. So.
Also, why did they not run the ARCA race before the truck race?
They never do.
Well, they should start doing that.
I know, but still. So after that was the Xfinity race, and before we get into the race itself, let's have the Natalie Decker conversation. So she did 3 very stupid things.
She was the show this weekend.
Yeah. So starting out, again, I'm going to be careful with my words with all these things because I don't want to sound like a misogynist asshole, because I'm not. But
I'll handle that.
So before the racing even started, she did a podcast with Matt Tifft where she talked about how she met her husband, and basically they met when she was 14, and she told him to call him when he told her to call him when she was 18, which she did. Now, obviously there were a bunch of grooming jokes, and
yeah, Matt Tiff was immediately like, that's grooming, right? That sounds like grooming to me.
Now, the thing is, with Natalie, like her husband, Derek Lemke, he's only like 4 years older than her. So
if that, yeah.
They were still teenagers, both of them. So it's not like he was 35 who met a 14-year-old. Not that I'm defending any of this.
It's not like it was Michael Waltrip, you know? Like,
it's really just one of those things that you shouldn't tell that story publicly, especially in today's climate with all the Me Too stuff and people getting called out for
and the fucking files.
Yeah, the files. might as well, since we're mentioning the files, guess who popped up on Twitter this week?
Oh, yeah, Brian Vickers.
Fucking Brian Vickers. He posted a poem to his wife and just posted a picture of him in the snow, and then nothing else.
Yeah, well, he shut the comments down on that real quick. I think he realized that poking his head above ground right now is
he left the comments on for the photo of just his face, and that was a bad idea. Because those are about as funny as you would think they would be.
What was the comment or the text under the post? It was like, "Haven't seen me in a while" or some shit. Like
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all. That's it.
It's like, no, we've been reading about you though.
Yeah. So anyways, that's Natalie Decker's first thing. The second thing was she took a photo with Bert Kreischer with her fire suit zipped down and just her tits out. And
whatever, that's fine.
It's whatever. I would say
That'll work.
Here's the thing. So one, I don't know how many actual NASCAR fans are super familiar with Bert Kreischer, but that's his thing. Is he's an awful comedian. And the fact that he is an awful comedian, one of the things he's known for is just doing comedy shirtless. And, to emphasize the double standard here, if this was Noah that did this, because he's the first person I would think of that would have done this.
100%.
Nobody would fucking bat an eye. So there is a little bit of a double standard there. Granted... Natalie's somewhat sexualized by a lot of NASCAR fans, so that's kind of gross. But at the same time,
didn't bother me all that much.
No, I would say out of the three things we're talking about, that was the least offensive thing. But it's still not a great look, I suppose. Ashley, as the woman on the show, how did it make you feel?
I'm more repulsed by Bert just because I hate him on so many levels. But
Okay, so you and I are in agreement there. So that's very fair.
yeah, I mean, I think maybe my only hang-up would be you're on pit road. Maybe if you're gonna do this, do it in your hauler or something. I don't know.
Didn't Noah get fined for not wearing Nomex?
Yeah, that was going to be my other comment. I thought you're supposed to wear Nomex or a T-shirt or whatever underneath your fire suit, but
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I was probably coming from a fucking event or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But and granted, this is a little deep into the race, but her stupidest move of the weekend was driving straight into Sam Mayer, who had been wrecked for a good 30 seconds prior to her hitting him. So,
not to be outdone by Mike Marshall in the modified tour race last week, she decided to add a couple extra seconds onto the count before completely plowing into Sam Mayer.
And this was the wreck happened during a commercial break, but obviously you could see it in picture. So I'm looking at it and it's oh shit, there's a wreck. And everybody's wrecking, and then, good 20, 30 seconds later, all of a sudden I see some car smash into Mary's what the fuck? And then, they come back from break, and, it was Natalie. So, and immediately she gets on the radio and is bitching to that Mayer, why was he in the track? And that hurt, and it's just what the fuck were you doing? You were so far behind. At the very least, if you had slowed down so much and couldn't avoid him somehow, and you hit him at 50 miles an hour, whatever. But she was going, she barely slowed down at all. She was definitely just fucking cold trickling it through this, and it did not pay off. So.
Ironically, her spotter was actually Brian Keselowski. Did you guys know that?
Oh, I forgot about that. I think
And
did he say anything on Twitter about it?
He didn't, but the ironic part is that Kevin Hamlin was spotting for Sam Mayer, and that's the spotter that quit on Natalie the last time she pulled some shit like this at Bristol all those years ago. So they say things happen in threes, and hopefully that's not the case for poor Kevin. So
I guess to wrap up the Natalie convo, she obviously got tons of shit from everybody for all these things all weekend, and especially the racing incident. And both you had the door bumper clear guys and Carson especially calling her out. And then also today on Twitter, you had Taylor Reimer. She put out this nice long statement, not calling out Natalie by name, but more or less just saying,
who the fuck else would she be talking about? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but she more or less is saying, us women drivers, we have to really work hard both on our on-track performance and our image, and we want to be good role models. And a lot of other women who race, chimed in and showed their support. And,
Jade.
Yeah, all the women that are racing right now, they're actually talented and are, doing the right things and winning races, or at least performing fairly well. And even Toni Breidinger, granted, I think her NASCAR career is kind of coming to an end. She didn't make the truck race,
Probably
but
so.
Yeah.
she's never done anything as embarrassing as Natalie. Not even close. Like, she's wrecked plenty of times, but has never done anything as egregiously stupid as Natalie.
Well,
and
to me, again, not to get too into it, and all the like, look, she set women in motorsports back to pre-Lynn St. James levels with this weekend.
Yeah.
And each one of these deals, you know, the podcast thing, the photo, whatever, like, individually, they're kind of whatever. The on-track stuff, you know, especially since there's a bit of a track record, that's kind of a different deal. You know, it's like maybe there should be more of a vetting process here. Again, DBC did a good job of breaking that down, and I agree with their opinion. But the thing that really bothers me about this is that she just doesn't seem to take this whole thing very seriously.
Yeah.
And it's real fucking dangerous. Like, motorsports, like, we've come a long way safety-wise, but that could have been the end of Sam Mayer's championship run or season right there, or hers for that matter. And, like, I'm all for having a good time. You know, I love when people fuck around and joke around. I thought that photo with what's his name, shirtless guy, Brett or Bert. I thought that was funny. Whatever, who cares? You know, it's pretty meaningless right there. But when you kind of put the whole picture together and just her reaction on the radio and then the track record we've seen, I don't think that she's the best one to be flying the flag for women in motorsports necessarily, especially when you have Jade down there at Five Flags winning races and impressing the shit out of everybody. She came in second this week.
Isabella's been doing.
Isabella did a good job.
Been doing very good. I mean, she's had a lot of car issues, but you know, she actually is running up front in a lot of these races. So you know, there are women out there that are doing well, and yeah, like you said, Natalie's just setting all of them back. And you know, even like Catherine Legg, how much shit did she get? And she's actually a very experienced driver. You know?
Oh, yeah, she started the Indy 500 multiple times.
Yeah.
And, yeah, her Cup career started off pretty poorly. And, again, that's kind of reflective of NASCAR's approval process, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will agree with that as well. So, I don't know. Normally, I'd be inclined to say I'd feel bad for Natalie in this situation, but I just don't. Really?
No, I shouldn't. I think nobody should.
I just fucking don't. I felt bad for Catherine. Anytime some dumbass mouths off about a woman driving, it pisses me off. But this case, you know, boys have at it, I guess. I don't know. Fuck. Like, maybe not. That's probably not what I should have said there.
Well,
I told you I'd be the misogynist one here.
Well, it's funny because there were, you know, I was looking at a lot of comments and stuff, and there were definitely a few, like, white knights, like, trying to defend her. And it's like, dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things she did that were indefensible. Like, it's not about her being a woman. It's about her being a fucking idiot who isn't taking this seriously.
I wonder what the Monday morning meeting at Witch Hazel was like. Yeah, sorry. We just had two men talk about women in motorsports for 10 minutes. True Love, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I think y'all covered it. I'll be honest, I missed the whole whatever happened on Twitter today with the other women drivers speaking out. So
it was just all
what happened there. But
you know, Taylor she made a very good statement, and just basically every other woman in racing agreed with her. That was pretty much it. So
yeah.
But yeah, as far as the actual race is concerned, this was a shit show. There was they fucking two Tommy Joe cars wrecked before they even fucking crossed the green flag. Like, that was the start of the race, and there were many wrecks throughout the whole fucking thing. While up front, RCR just led the whole thing. You know, it was, you know, Austin Hill led the majority of it, and Jesse Love pretty much led the rest of it. And for as much as we shit talk Austin,
he's a bad motherfucker.
He's undeniably the best plate racer. I don't want to say in all of NASCAR because, you know, obviously the Xfinity and Cup cars are so different.
And we haven't really seen it in a Cup car either.
Not like that. I mean, they race so differently, especially, you know, Atlanta will be different because Atlanta will actually race, but you know, Talladega and Daytona, it's all fucking fuel mileage racing until it's not, and then it turns into a shit show. But I mean, no matter what you want to say about Austin Hill, he's undeniably the best plate racer in Xfinity at the very least. So you know, well-earned win. You really can't say anything about it other than he deserved to win. So he did.
Did it all while he had pissed his pants. So
Yes, that's right. Getting out of the car, it very much looked like he pissed himself during the race.
yeah,
So that was very
his entire ass was wet, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe he's just got sweaty swamp butt or something. But then I was like, oh, it's cold there tonight. And then I saw a shot of him from the front, and yep, that's wet too. So
There you go.
little pee-pee, little Austin pee-pee.
Austin Pee-Pee. Well, that's the front runner for the episode title so far. Austin Pee-Pee.
And yeah, that brings us to Sunday. And as previously mentioned, they did move the race up an hour, which was the probably best decision they made all weekend. But also, there was an update. So our friend Glenn that we talked about last week, who was looking for some lady friends in his camper in the infield.
Yeah, great Facebook post, went viral.
So Jenna Fryer, who's a well-respected NASCAR reporter, was it seems like she was obsessed with this story as we were, because she immediately gets to the track and is like, I gotta find Glenn. So she finds Glenn, and it turns out it was like, I don't know if it was one of Glenn's kids or friends or something. His brother posted that for him, fucking with him in the Daytona group. So.
Yeah, I could. You can, and once you learn that, you can just imagine whoever put that together. I'm sure this dude sat there and gloated about his nice new floor in the RV, because I'm pretty sure that was specifically mentioned, right, in the original post. I'm sure he was gloating about his new floor in his RV, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna mention that in the post."
But Jenna found him, and it turns out, the post was all a ruse, and Glenn had no part of it. And Jenna managed to keep tabs on him all weekend.
She gave away his exact location to the entire internet.
He's by the porta potties. So go find him.
Yeah, the wheelbarrow races.
Yeah,
he's working on his truck right now. Here's a sneaky picture of him.
So the pre-race stuff, you guys are gonna have to fill me in, because I didn't really watch much of it. I did see the Denny Hamlin video, which was very somber, but I didn't see much else. So you'll have to fill me in here.
I mean, pre-race was good. It was long like always, but they made me cry 2 different times, because the first time they did a nice little Biffle tribute, but that's not what got me. It's when they finished that video piece, they cut to Jamie Mack in the booth talking about him live, and Jamie Mack got super emotional and couldn't talk anymore, and they had to cut away from him, and he was still you could see him weeping over on the side, and man, that got me.
Yeah.
And then the Denny video was super emotional too. I think we learned some new things. We learned that his dad's health issues that he had been struggling with all along was COPD, and that his mom physically got him out of the house, and that Denny went to the house first, but they were already at the hospital, and that Coach Gibbs actually beat Denny to the hospital.
No kidding.
And yeah, he said that his dad had a lot of burns, and that when they went back to the house to dig through the rubble, only one thing survived, and it was a journal that his dad had started writing in. And in the journal was his dad's final wishes, which was to be buried in one of Denny's racing shirts. So that got me.
Yeah, that was
and then
pretty.
They did Mikey's grid walk, so they canceled out all the good stuff they had just done. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Miranda Lambert for 2 minutes on TV, and then I went back downstairs to get the bar cleaned up. I had some folks coming over. I gotta say that overall, maybe it's just me and my own personal feelings about modern NASCAR kind of changing due to the changes that have been made coming into this year, but the whole thing just felt like a much bigger deal than it has in years past. Am I alone in that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I don't know if it's a bigger deal, but it just felt,
or maybe a better way of putting it was they did a better job of portraying the weight of this event this year.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that there was zero playoff talk, that helped a lot. They got rid of all the cartoons and a lot of the goofy shit, and it just, everything felt not back to normal per se, but it felt more like NASCAR of the past in a little bit of a sense. So that was very good.
They got rid of the cartoons, and then they had a guy dressed as Bart Simpson climb out.
Yeah, that was confusing. I was under the impression that like they were gonna have like a little cartoon of Bart saying "Gentlemen, start your engines," but they had Nate Bargatze do that, which they had two, the two comedians they had. I'm not a Nate fan. His comedy is very PG, family friendly, but he's at least good at what he does, unlike Bert. And he seemed to be having a good time. Although he was in Alex Bowman's pit, which Alex did not have a good race, so sucks for him in that sense. And as we mentioned before, so starting off the race, our pal BJ McLeod only made it to lap 5. He apparently, I think it was a wheel bearing or a hub or something, exploded, and he just crashed by himself. And a couple people got get caught up a little bit in it, but didn't take him out necessarily. So that was obviously a huge bummer. We're massive BJ fans here on the show, so bummer to see him not make it to the end. Coming to stage 2, I think it was. Justin
we had. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say in stage 2 we had an interesting combination of Kyle Larson pushing Cody Ware to the lead.
Oh yeah, so Cody Ware made it up to the front, and then I tweeted, "I don't like Cody Ware up front," and literally a minute later he wrecks. So I felt bad for putting that out in the universe. That's my fault, folks. I'm sorry. But the other big wreck that happened, so coming to the end of stage 2, Denny Hamlin tried to pass Justin Allgaier in the tri-oval on the outside, and Allgaier made a very late block, and that caused one of the first big ones of the weekend, or of the race. And Allgaier took the blame on it, which he should have, but Denny said, it was getting a little aggressive, but I am racing for points, and yes, obviously the points do count.
He did have a hole.
He did have a hole, and it was Justin's fault, so that ended their day.
Right before this happened, they were showing Dale Jr. sitting up on Justin's pit box, and he was caught in 4K brown bagging a beer
yes, he was.
with a blue shop towel.
Shop towel.
I have to imagine they addressed that on Junior's podcast, but I haven't listened yet. So
I haven't listened yet.
Although maybe he won't address it because he might get in trouble for that. So. I'm trying to think what other big things happened in this last part of the race before we get to the finish.
I think after that Allgaier wreck, that was the next thing was just the Toyotas leading all 3 lanes.
Yeah, Toyota-thon up front.
Overall, this race sucked. I would say, just because it was a full for 80% of it, 90% of it, just cars at 70% throttle, just parade laps. And nobody really knows how to fix this because, I guess the first thing everybody thinks of will just get rid of stages. And that's not really going to fix anything because
still the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah. The end goal is just to pit as few times as possible. And if everybody's doing that strategy, whether the stage breaks or not, it's still going to happen that way.
Yeah, and not to get too ahead of ourselves here, but we did see a couple guys who really stretched it out pretty far. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. It wasn't everybody doing the exact same thing. But I don't think there is a way you can fix this, to be honest with you. I think this is just where the racing's evolved. And the problem is with super speedway racing in general and them running in packs the way they do. Unless you can fix that and I don't know, take the tapered spacer off and let him run 250 miles an hour, I don't think you're going to get away from this.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, the Cup Series is the only series that races that way. So it's it's a car problem, really, is what it is. Yeah. Denny seems to think, so, after the race, he was talking to the press and all that, and he seems to think if we come to Daytona next year and figure out some sort of crazy package, this can fix it. Who the fuck knows what that means, but I guess we'll see what happens in the next few months, and who knows, maybe they'll make some changes for the upcoming. Obviously Atlanta is not raced that way, but the other, Talladega races and Daytona, maybe they'll figure something out, who the hell knows. But for all the good things we said about Daytona and the whole weekend, for that to be the racing product, kind of, and the NASCAR folks, they tried to make it sound like, well, if you're a casual fan, you turn on the TV and you see cars going 3 wide, it looks pretty cool. Well, yeah, but those of us, the other 80% of the fucking people watching the race that know what's going on are fucking bored and annoyed because, this racing sucks.
I mean, let's not look at the past with too rose-colored of glasses here. I mean, they were running single file at these races for hours previous to this, so it's not like there was a different problem before. I just think that when you run like this and when it turns into a demolition derby and the only way to make things happen at the end is desperation moves, you're going to see this no matter what the strategy is. And whatever the strategy is to get you to the end without destroying your fucking car is going to be what you go with. And if that's fuel saving and running 30%, then, that's what it's going to be. And I don't know, I'll be honest, to be the plate racing hater that I am, I enjoyed this. I thought the race was fine. Yeah. It's the Daytona 500. I thought the booth did a good job. I thought Fox did a good job. Again, I'm not a fan of side-by-side ads, but it's better than going to commercial with 6 to go and one of the duels like they did the other night and not showing any racing. So I thought it was fine. There's really not much to complain about. It's what we've got, and it's going to take radical change to make it happen. And I don't think NASCAR or anyone is going to be willing to do what it would take to break the pack up and keep this from happening. So.
I mean, yes and no. They've made a lot of positive changes over the last year, so maybe. But what were you going to say, True Love?
I was just going to say I enjoyed it until I didn't.
Well,
Why?
yeah, we'll get to, we're about to get to that. So I guess now we're setting up. So
I guess I'm in that crew too.
The last 15, it was around 15, 20 to go. That's when everybody started making their final pit stops. And, the field was just about cycled through, and there was a caution. What was the last caution? I forget.
10 to go, there was a wreck with Bell and Hamlin, and I think Heim had caused it, sort of. So.
Okay. So, there's a wreck with 10 to go. So, not a green, white, checkered, but I think the restart of 6 or 7 to go, something like that. And
4 to go.
4 to go. So, they got this drag race to the end, and...
Oh, this I was going to bring this up. This is where the super alternate fuel strategy comes in.
True, yes.
Both Michael McDowell and Carson Hocevar really stretching it out. Really.
Yeah.
And I forget how many laps Michael McDowell went, but it was exponentially further than anyone else. Yeah.
It was a lot, and then also, his crew chief was like, you got 3 laps left, so just go.
Yeah.
So... Those two decided to stay out, and they didn't, it worked out in their favor in the sense that, the exact thing that happened that they wanted to happen did, and they, the final restart, they started out front. And, it was Daytona, it's Daytona, it's a big pack, and everybody's trying to figure out, who they're going to run with and all that. And, as soon as they crossed the white flag, let's see. Eric Jones pushes Carson Hocevar just a little off center.
Yeah, Hocevar was leading. He went up to block the top lane. Not dissimilar to what we saw with Allgaier and Hamlin, just a little bit more room. But just, you could say Jones drove through him. You could say the move was late. Doesn't matter either way. Carson spins across the front of the pack. And this is when I join the True Love Club of Sadness in my own way, which she had not joined yet. So I guess it's really my Club of Sadness.
Yeah.
Takes out McDowell and a couple other cars, and everybody spins to the bottom. And they just focus on the front of the pack because, obviously in the past we're expecting a caution to be thrown, but they don't throw the caution. Meanwhile, half the fucking field is wrecking, and we don't even see that. We don't see a replay at all. Everybody is wrecking.
I never knew how big it was until that fan cam footage came out from the grandstands.
They never showed any replays or anything after the race.
Yeah, basically, anyone who wasn't on camera was in that wreck.
Yeah. So, we see Reddick and Stenhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Chase Elliott, obviously, they're all out front and going down the backstretch. Chase Elliott gets out to a lead. I think Zane Smith is behind him.
Big push from Zane Smith, yep.
And unfortunately, the bad thing about drafting tracks, they got out to a big lead, but that's not good because then the other cars behind you can link up and catch up, and that's what happened. eventually.
Riley Herbst gave the push of the century to Tyler Reddick coming down the backstretch. And
the one thing we got to mention too is the only two cars that were actually teammates up front were, Riley Herbst and Tyler Reddick. Everybody else is all on their own. I mean, there are a couple Fords that got together. I mean, Keselowski and Logano linked up at the very end. But coming to the finish line, I mean, Chase was leading coming out of 3. Reddick and Herbst had a good run. Reddick dropped all the way down to the bottom to pass Chase, and Herbst, Denny did a very good job of breaking this down. Herbst was pushing Reddick. When Tyler dropped to the bottom, he started to follow him, and then he kind of stopped following him right behind Chase. He briefly tapped the brake because he didn't want to push Chase to the finish, and then decided to try to go up top and continue his run and try to pass and make it a 3-wide finish.
Too bad Brad Keselowski was coming at 340 miles an hour.
So
with his cane pushing the gas pedal down harder for him.
So I watched before, Denny or anything, listening to his podcast, I watched that finish probably 10 times Sunday night and just to analyze it. And my opinion is I don't think Brad would have gotten there. It would have been at best a 3-wide finish, and Reddick probably still would have had it, but it would have been close. Yeah. If Herbst had just stayed with Reddick and pushed him to the win, it would have been all 23-11. Unfortunately, True Love, Chase was not going to win. Either of those two packs, one of them would have gotten him. It just wasn't going to happen.
Well, the second that Zane dropped off on his own, or kind of lost the draft there, I can't remember exactly how it went down, but Chase lost his push. And he was already going to be kind of a sitting duck. He got passed by Reddick already, and then now that he lost the push, and he's got no friends up there. So it was inevitable that it wasn't going to work out. Sorry, Clyde Nation.
Yeah, it just wasn't his day. See, I can understand
how
why.
Angry were you at that moment, True Love?
Oh, I was standing on my feet screaming my fucking brains out. It was like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And, yeah, it was bad. I love Reddick. I'm a huge fan of Reddick. I'm a huge fan of 2311, but I just could not feel any joy for at least a full day. I still don't feel much joy, but
it's fair. Well, I'll give you that because if it was like Ross or somebody like that in that position, I probably would have felt the same way. Even again as a Reddick fan. So.
And I expected at the end of the 500, it turns into every man for themselves, but I knew that when there were clowns up front like Zane and Riley, that it was just going to get real silly up there.
Listen, you can call Riley a clown, but Zane, I'll defend Zane. I have, not to say I'm a fan of his, but I've definitely gained a bit of respect for him over the last few years, and he's not a bad driver, so show a little respect to Zane.
I won't.
But yeah, Tyler Reddick. So obviously I was pulling for Bubba. He was a 2311 car. I expected to win. He was up front for a good portion of the race, and unfortunately, when that first wreck happened, William Byron got very squirrely, and Bubba had to avoid him, and that dropped him out of contention.
I cannot believe that he didn't wreck. Either of them, both of them made it through, to the best of my knowledge, anyway.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, so Tyler Reddick, again, very unexpected victory, but also maybe not that unexpected because even though he has a bad record in the 500, he is the first driver to win all 3 Daytona openers. First one to do all 3 of them. In 3 different manufacturers, nonetheless. So you have to give him credit that it wasn't a totally unexpected win. He just was, right place at the right time. So
also worth mentioning that all 3 teams that won the race, and sorry for beating this statistic over your head if you've been on Twitter because we've all seen it, but all 3 teams that won in the 3 major series this weekend were heavily featured or directly involved in the big NASCAR lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. And
love to see it.
Jim France was in victory lane to congratulate them and have a nice photo with Michael Jordan after the fact. So
seems like they buried the hatchet.
Yeah. But anyways, so cool win. I think, while there's reasons to be disappointed, at the same time, you have to be happy for Reddick. And, he had a rough rough year, both professionally and personally last year, and it's very nice to see him back in victory lane. Speaking of victory lane,
Jamie
though,
Little that interviewed him and immediately brought up his dying son, the biggest
who's not dying
win of his
anymore.
life. I know, but she made it sound like you just won the biggest race of your career. Let's talk about your son who almost died.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck?
Speaking of victory lane, though, we can't not address this. So, after the fact, a video came out that somebody took of Michael Jordan tugging at the back and shorts of Tyler Reddick's son, Bo. And obviously a bunch of trolls and people that are either racists or don't like Michael or both, made this seem like Michael was being a creep to Reddick's son, which wasn't really the case. Of all people, well, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised since he's a late model guy. Bubba the Love Sponge debunked all of this, and I guess everybody got dumped with water and ice and shit after the race, and seemed like Michael. I thought when I first saw the clip that it was just Michael trying to get the kid's attention, like, oh hey, turn your head, we're taking a photo. That's what I thought.
Total like uncle grandpa vibes, fucking with a kid that he already has a close relationship with.
Exactly, and again, I think that's where contextually people just don't. So many people want to jump on that just want to fucking call out some sketchy bullshit when, all the people doing that have no idea what their relationship is with any of these people, and there's plenty of negative things you can say about Michael Jordan, but him being a sex pest is not one of them. Like, that has never come up anywhere, especially kids or anything. So like,
I don't think he's in the files.
Yeah, he's not in the files. There's plenty of people that are, but he's not one of them. So this was just silly and just people trying to, get their moment on social media and call something out that wasn't really a thing. So
That was fucking stupid.
It was unfortunate that clip blew up bigger than any other clip from the weekend all over the internet.
For sure. I even saw, because Reddick did one of the morning shows this morning, and there was somebody from TMZ that was trying to do a gotcha question outside, and the reps shut it down immediately.
Yeah.
But
I hope whoever that was gets sucked under an escalator. Just for the record, Michael Jordan not in the Epstein files. So
yes, and Reddick did address it. Reddick did address it somewhere, and he was like, "Yeah, that was nothing." Like, he was like, "That's not even worth talking about." Like, wasn't a big deal. So, everybody can just shut the fuck up about that. Nobody's kids are getting touched. At least not in the 2311, pits. So, just fucking relax, people. But yeah, that was it. Daytona has come and gone, and the regular season is in full effect. And
yes, it is.
Is Reddick leading the points? Not that it really fucking matters this early in the season, but
Reddick is leading the points.
Okay, well, that's good.
I think he's got about 12 points on top of Joey Logano, who got 10 for his dual win.
Yep.
And I think I don't know who else is in there, but look at the results of the race. You'll figure it out.
It's pretty mixed up in there. So
a little too early to talk about points.
Is 33rd.
Yeah, he's way back there. So that wraps up Daytona, but I guess so. There's really you have a couple of them. You have one person marked as Dart for the week. I would say,
they both qualify.
They both qualify. The first person I think is the real Dart for the week is whatever dipshit with 2 pairs of sunglasses on his head. So Daniel Suarez, again, at this weekend of anger he's had, and I don't even know where he finished, but he was getting interviewed by Fox after the race, and some dipshit on the pits walks by him and jumps in and just yells 47 a bunch of times, and that could either, I'm willing to bet it was him trying to say something about Stenhouse and not Trump. Like, I don't know, people made that out. That's what he was trying to say, but I feel like it was just him being a dumbass drunk race fan. But that was very stupid.
It really doesn't matter what he said. That's a live interview on Fox on Pit Road. And this guy is definitely one of the 2 Darvs of the week because, again, NASCAR is one of the few major sports, and everyone loves to shit on how NASCAR is on the downhill and blah, blah, blah. it's all doom and gloom, but it's a major fucking sport. There's not many things that are bigger than that in the United States. Let's be honest about that. But it's also the only sport where you can actually get down into the fucking belly of the beast and be essentially in the locker room.
Yeah.
And when you do shit like that, that's what gets it all taken away from us. So stop that. Don't do that.
Don't fuck up my good time.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all talk about, getting drunk at the race and having a good time, but all of us know how to behave ourselves when we're in that situation because we've all been there.
Yeah, that is live network television. Not network television. That is fucking prime time, essentially. So don't ruin this for the rest of us. So that guy's 100% a DARF of the week. The other one is the guy, and this is a little more of a classic DARF of the
This
week.
is funnier. Like, this is great. I love this.
This guy brings some family members' ashes. Doesn't matter anymore. And as the final lap is happening and as the entire field is wrecking, he decides to just toss a bag or urn of ashes out into the wind, and it just blows directly back on him. He's covered in his grandma or whatever it is.
Hilarious. It's so good.
Like a reverse gold dust move, you know?
I don't take offense to this. I thought it was funny, and you're not supposed to throw shit on the track, but it's ashes. Who the fuck cares? I will say that, like, I think Daytona actually has designated an area for people that want to do this.
It's not there.
It's definitely not there.
That's not it.
But I will say, and not that I'm encouraging people to do this, but if you're going to do it, my suggestion would be to put the ashes in just a Ziploc bag and throw them on the track because they're going to explode when they hit the track. So if you want to get it done the right way, do it that way. Don't fucking dump the urn next to cars going 200 miles an hour.
Or turn around.
It's not going to fucking work.
Yeah,
I have a friend who has spread his dad's ashes at multiple racetracks, and he'll usually do it like, pre-race, you're walking on the track, you let a little out here, a little out there.
I totally understand.
Not all of them at that one moment.
No,
Yeah.
no, he's wants to spread them out at different tracks.
I understand wanting to do it at that moment, but not that way. Not that way.
Yeah, those are our DARFs or DARBs of the week.
Yeah. This is also my final wishes to be spread at a racetrack, but whoever's in charge of that, I'm going to need y'all to do a better job.
Yeah, so my punishment for, I think the guy who spread his dad's ashes, whoever it was, I think he probably got punished enough. That was probably a pretty awkward shower. And a ride home, for that matter. So I think he suffered enough. And for the other guy, I hope they fucking find you and ban you from the racetrack forever.
Yes, 100%. We got to talk about this now.
Yes.
And this will be, I guess this will be a weekly update.
Yes.
So yeah, this was the first, we got a full field of 25 entrants. We all were able to figure out the app and shit because the app was being...
It's a miracle.
The app was being wonky all week. But yeah, let's do the top 10. We've got Austin Weinkauf, which I know Bailey, but I don't know Austin.
Austin and Bailey are Ross's cousins.
Oh, nice. Yeah, congrats, Austin, for your big win.
I don't know everybody here, because there were a bunch of people.
I only wrote down the top 3, so...
Well, the top 10 is here. We've got Austin Weinkauf in first, Little Michael in second, Twin Peaks Motorsports, shout out Jerry's Hooch, number 3, Mick Foliage in fourth, me, I'm in fifth place.
I'll take the bottom 6 here because I want to say this name out loud. Garfield's Feet came in 6th, so congratulations.
That is someone from my Discord, 100% has to be.
Nope, that's my best friend Evan. So.
No, really? Okay, well, never mind.
So big congratulations to Garfield's Feet on a 6th place performance. Our friend from the UK, Stephen Kent, coming in 7th. He actually messaged me over the weekend. He found a Stafford Motor Speedway modified diecast at a flea market in England. And he's like, hey, do you know what this is? And it turns out I didn't. And I looked it up, and it turns out it was for this like collectibles show they did at Stafford back in the 90s. And I don't know how the fuck that made it all the way to the UK, but very cool find. And shout out to Stephen. He's a good dude. Bailey Weinkauf, of course, brother, cousin, something of our winner was a brother, right? Coming in 8th. Yep. Professional Kyle Ayala and not Kyle Petty, 39, coming in 9th. And then Probably my favorite for the championship, Chris Davis. We've played fantasy with him for a long time. The only reason he ever loses a fantasy league is when he would go underway in the Navy. He was a submariner. But now he recruits kids at the mall, so that's not going to happen anymore. So you got to watch out for him. But, hey, Daytona's a slot machine, and he did not win this week, but still managed to get a top 10. I don't even know where the fuck you and I finished, True Love. It was pretty...
I think I was 11th.
Oh, good for you.
But, I mean, even the guy, whoever's 25th driving on Dollaritas, they're less than 100 points from first. So I feel like everyone kept it pretty tight this week.
Yeah.
It's Daytona. It's a crapshoot. You can pick, the best people, quote unquote, and they can still wreck.
Yeah,
so
just like the regular NASCAR season, we're not going to have a real clear picture on this till about 3 or 4 races in. So, but again, thanks to everyone who signed up in time. Again, we got a full league here, so we aren't accepting anybody else. Sorry about that. But we're looking forward to playing with the 25 that made it, or 23, I guess, since we're included in this. And, we'll see you in Atlanta, motherfuckers. Or Echo Park Speedway, I guess is what they call it now.
It's Atlanta. We call it Atlanta. Moving on to a little bit of general notes. Again, speaking back to NASCAR social media doing a much better job so far this season, they kind of tweeted, it looked like a random car that they were going to debut or something, and I think a lot of people were guessing it was going to be
Ram or Dodge.
Like the EV or something. That's what it kind of looked like. But it was a car underneath, a canopy, and the actual reveal was it was all beer cans, and they made some little NAS cooler thing that was basically just a go-kart that they,
with a cooler in front of it,
turned into a cooler. So that was neat. Fun little.
Yeah, I saw that it was part of the Hell Yeah campaign. It was the same people who built the billboard in Times Square the other week. But I read, what was it? The spokesperson who was in charge of this, they said that the reason behind this was that the underlying theme is that we are the most accessible sport. Fans can bring coolers in, and in other sports, coolers are contraband. But in NASCAR, it's a vehicle. Even though this cooler in particular, definitely not allowed.
No, not a single campground that would allow you.
And also, there are still some tracks you can't bring fucking coolers in, so that's a little bit of bullshit there. But most of them you can, at least all the ones I go to. And then let's see here. NASCAR and Wheel of Fortune, that happened. I didn't watch any of it. I don't really care. I just wanted the codes.
I care, so.
Okay. So what do we miss, True Love? What did we miss?
I watched the full week, which was whatever. The first 4 nights was just fans, but on the 5th night, Friday, is when they had their grand finale, and that's when Bell and Logano and Kyle Busch showed up just to partner up with that week's winners. The only funny part really was Ryan Seacrest had asked Joey Logano if they all get along, and without skipping a beat, Kyle Busch said no. But I don't know why the drivers were really there. They only spun the wheel a couple times. They didn't get like a button to click. They didn't get to pick any letters. So they were basically just props in their fire suits. But Joey Logano's team won, so good for them. They had NASCAR race trip prizes all week too. So
I was just
did it up.
I was just concerned with getting the rewards codes every night, which managed to find those, so that worked out. Let's see here. So, the Bathurst 12-hour happened, and the only thing I know of this is a guy hit a kangaroo and kicked off himself after the fact. So
he hit that thing at 155 miles per hour.
Yes, Christopher Mize, I think is how you say it.
Yes.
But went through the windscreen. He gets out of the car. He's covered in blood and God knows what else, and just proceeded to throw up on television.
Yep.
Which is fair.
Covered in Rugu, as he called it. He said he was blinded by blood, and at one point he took 2 showers and he could still smell the kangaroo guts in his nose. So good luck to him.
Also, another nasty crash. Ralph, I think it was Ralph Aaron was the guy. I'm not sure who else was involved in this, but there was a car stalled at the top of the chase, And they just didn't throw the yellow until it was way too late, and somebody came in there at about
The leaders came in there.
about 130 miles an hour or whatever, and completely cleaned them out. And obviously that's a red flag. That was really nasty. I don't understand how you don't throw the yellow for that, especially when it's on television for a full fucking 30 seconds. Like, surely somebody's watching the monitors. But shout out to Mercedes for picking up a big win there. Mario Engel and Mikhail Grenier and Maxime Martin, I believe is his name. They picked up the win coming all the way from the back. So Bathurst 12 Hours, a cool-ass race. I didn't watch a second of it, only highlights. But, yeah, that's, again, the greatest race course on the planet Earth. And I want to go there.
Can't not address this. Robert Duvall passed away. Robert Duvall, definitely a great actor of the last 50 years, and so many different, Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Falling Down, To Kill a Mockingbird. So many great movies, but if you are not a if you're a NASCAR fan, or if you have horrible taste in movies like myself, you know him as Harry Hogg from Days of Thunder. 95 years old, so not something to necessarily break out the Kleenex and dry your eyes with. Once you get past 85, you're kind of living on borrowed time as far as I'm concerned, but...
Hell of a eulogy, Brian.
But yeah, just an amazing actor, and we've talked about
That's why Rob usually covers this part of it.
Well, I'll say this: we've talked about Days of Thunder plenty, so we don't need to get too deep into this. But I would say Robert Duvall, Harry Hogg, he was really the star of that movie. I mean, obviously Tom Cruise, he was the central character, but without him in that role of Harry Hogg, like, everybody revolved around him. Tim Daly needed Harry to come, run this team. The team needed Harry, and Cole needed Harry, and it turned out Harry needed Cole, and he was just so incredibly perfect and really the star of that movie. And there's some roles you could recast, some that you couldn't, and Harry, he was just perfect. There's nobody else that could have done that role like he did. And, so many quotable lines, and most of them were his. So,
and he is the one that has blessed or cursed us with rubbing his racing. We have to hear that for the rest of our lives now.
Yes, for
Came
sure.
from Robert Duvall's mouth into the lexicon of race fans and non-race fans alike. But, Falling Down is one of my favorite movies. Obviously, Days of Thunder, a huge influence on everybody here, being a child, or that just shows our age, I guess. But yeah, that made me fall in love with NASCAR pretty hard. So even if it was just for the Happy Meal toys they handed out at Hardee's, which it wouldn't be a Happy Meal, but whatever they called their fucking kids meals. But yeah, that's a big loss. As Brian said, he lived a long life and definitely got more than his fair share of accolades. But always sucks to see one of the great ones pass, and I don't think there's any question that he was one of them.
Yeah. Moving on to Atlanta this weekend, and as always, True Love will be in attendance, and it's going to be very cold and windy, so you better bundle up, and Yeah,
I'm not going to be there Saturday. Saturday's the doubleheader. They're predicting rain for Saturday, so I don't know how that would affect the schedule. We'll see. Kyle, I talked to him before we recorded. He was supposed to be in Atlanta this weekend, but I guess he will not be back at the track until St. Pete because Cletus fucked that truck up too bad for them to take it back to Atlanta this weekend. So that's a bummer, but
what a shame.
I'll be there Sunday. Me and my boyfriend, and then my brother and his girlfriend. It will be her first race ever. I wish it was going to be warmer, and then a bunch of other friends, Canada Eric, and a bunch of the regular crew. So
it's still going to be a hell of a show regardless of the weather. There's no question about that.
Yep. Yeah. They're supposed to have a new right side tire that wears faster on Sunday. And the sea lions are back.
Are they used?
How they like the cold.
Do they like it more? Sea lions or Atlantic Ocean?
I feel like, compared to the heat, they're probably going to like the cold better.
They might be a little more
They've had
energetic.
them out there in like 90-degree boiling water, and this weekend it'll be below freezing. So.
Well, that's nice. Well, I look forward to more sea lion footage from you. That's awesome. Yeah, Atlanta, it's aging a lot faster than the other super speedway tracks, and obviously it's a different beast altogether, and it's really become its own thing, even though it is a drafting track. And I've sort of my disposition towards it has thawed over the years, especially after last year. I thought those races were great. So, yeah, very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, same.
I'm excited.
Cool. Well, with that, it is now time to dive into the septic tank.
Yes, it is. And boy, it was another busy one here. Of course, we recorded the show in the throes of all the proceedings down at Volusia and at New Smyrna. The World Series of Asphalt Racing was happening. Ryan Preece picked up a win. We might have announced that as the show was happening last week, but Ryan Preece won on, I think it was Wednesday night. Patrick Emmerling picked up a couple of wins. Ronnie Williams won the Richie Evans Memorial on Friday night and in turn picked up the title for the week. He had a pretty consistent run all the way through, and even though he only won one race, that was he did more than enough to get the title. So shout out to Ronnie. He's always been fast up here, and he's always fast down in Florida too. So I'm not a big fan of his, but definitely cool to see him get that. Also, shout out to Paulie Hartwig, continuing to just kick ass as a 14-year-old. Went out there and ran with the big dogs, got a bunch of top 5s, top 10s, and all that. Continued his impressive run throughout speed weeks, and you're going to see a lot more of him going forward. In the super late models, Spencer Davis won a couple more times and picked up the title over Jade Avedizian. If you want to talk about women who drive race cars, she's the one you need to be talking about right now, in my opinion. I can't wait to see what else she's got coming because she's fucking fast. Also, they run a winged sprint car race on, I think it's Saturday night, and that was fucking insane. We're talking like 410s here with wings and the whole deal. And Davey Hamilton Jr. picked up a win over Bobby Santos. Him and Santos got together, and Santos wrecked. Bobby Santos, of course, a Massachusetts guy, so of course I got to pull for him. But good job, Davey. And that show is a much-watch event. I think it's on YouTube now, so you can go to Flow Racing's YouTube account and check that out. It's definitely worth the price of admission. Over at Volusia, a fuck ton of racing. I don't even know where to start with all this, but I guess we'll start with the late models. The Dirt Car Nationals portion wrapped up on Wednesday night. They did triple features leading into the big blocks. Michael Leach picking up a big win. Of course, he's from Montana, of all places, which there's not a whole lot of racing happening out there. But he's had a couple bright flashes over the past year or so at Eldora and other places, and I think this might have been his first major win. So cool to see Michael Leach get one. Nick Hoffman continuing his dominance, and also Tyler Erb picking up a win there on triple feature Wednesday. The World of Outlaws picked up right after that, and as did Hoffman in his dominating ways. Won 2 more races. Brandon Sheffer picking up a win in the Rocket one on Saturday. And also one more shout out to Tim McCready coming from 22nd to 2nd on Thursday. That car is fucking hooked up. I don't know where he's sitting in points right now, but he's certainly going to be a threat this year. Also, kind of a quiet week in Volusia for Bobby Pierce. I mean, he didn't suck by any means, but I think people expected a little bit more out of him. But with Hoffman's dominance and a couple other guys showing their worth out there, I guess it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. But we'll see plenty of Bobby throughout the year.
I'll take the big block since I'm the big block guy.
I figured you would.
I watched all the features all week. Stuart Friesen, I believe he won the week prior at All Tech, but he won Wednesday night the feature. Matt Williamson won the next 2, and Larry White won his first Super Dirt Series win in 6 years, and then Matt Williamson took home the Big Gator. Good racing all 4 nights.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
The modifieds don't always put on the best shows, but most races were very good, so I was very psyched to watch that. So
yeah, also Larry White picking up a win. But yeah, I thought that all those races were great. And again, I wouldn't call myself a big block hater, but it's not my preferred form of dirt racing, and I do make fun of them once in a while. But yeah, every single race was great, and honestly, across the board, shout out to Volusia and the folks fixing the track up, and just the whole show across the board from the very beginning of the whole deal up until the end. It was. I can't really think of too many races that were shitty. So kudos to them for putting on a hell of a show down there. Yeah. Anything else to say about Big Blocks?
No, I mean, I didn't take notes or anything. I just watched all of them and enjoyed them. So,
but again,
it was good.
Like Brian, I'm not a Stuart Friesen fan, but super cool to see him back out there. It doesn't seem like his pelvis feels bad anymore, and he's back to being a motherfucker out there on the racetrack. Cool to see him get a win. Also at Volusia, USAC was out there. One more. I think we talked about most of that last week, but there was one night we didn't discuss, and that was Jake Swanson picking up the win there in the USAC sprint cars. Cool to see him get that done. After that, USAC moved on to Ocala for the dirt games. Trey Osborne picking up his first big-time USAC sprint car win. Logan Seavey, Chase Stockton, and Justin Grant also picking up wins throughout all that. Again, more badass racing. USAC fucking rips there. So definitely pretty high on my list of places to go. Volusia's always been up there for me, but especially coming fresh off of a week and a half, 2 weeks of just feature, like banger feature after banger feature. I think I got to get down there at some point. A couple random notes here. Jimmy Owens is no longer racing with Kohler Motorsports. No real announcement made or anything like that. He just kind of dropped off. Not 100% sure why, but that's why you haven't seen the Newport Nightmare out there recently. And that's a shame. Hopefully they get that sorted out, because it just ain't dirt late model racing without Jimmy Owens. And I do have to issue a correction this week. Last week I talked about the Winter Freeze down in Georgia. I pronounced the track as Screven Speedway, and I knew that was probably wrong, and I knew I'd hear about it from at least a few of my friends, and sure enough, I received a video from my good pal James Honeycutt giving me a pronunciation guide on how to say it. It is Screven, not Screven.
It's funny.
Screven.
It's funny you mention that, because in my hometown growing up, we had a local news reporter named Ken Screven who spelled it the exact same way, so I should have just corrected you there.
You should have. But hey, that's what the fans are for, so thanks, James, for hooking me up with the correct information, and at least I can redeem myself this week. It's definitely going to slow up a little bit in the short track calendar coming up here. A little bit of a break between now and March, but not so much for late models. World of Outlaw late models are picking up at Hendry County for 3 nights, Thursday to Sunday, for the Swamp Cabbage 100. I knew you'd like that.
Oh, that's great.
Also, Lucas Oil.
T-shirt.
Exactly. It's a hell of a name for an event. Also, Lucas Oil late models kicking off their season at Alltech at the same time, so we're going to see some split fields. Obviously, Volusia was a big deal because it was the only game in town. Now the two series starting to book events against each other. We're going to see, really going to see if anyone is undecided on which series they're running for points in. We're going to find out this weekend because some choices are going to have to be made. Also, the Cars Tour West is going to be kicking off their season, I think, at Vegas. Have they raced already? I don't know. I don't follow that one. I just saw that on the Flow schedule and figured I'd put it on there because the Vegas Bull Ring is cool. And if you need an asphalt racing fix, that's where you can find it. But that's it for the short track septic tank this week. We'll be back to talk about all the happenings from the Swamp Cabbage 100 and Lucas Oil at Alltech next week. And probably a bunch of other shit. Again, the season's just starting to unfold now, so we'll have a little bit more fun stuff to talk about, not just results. But until then, we're going to go ahead and flush her down, and we're going to watch some bobsledding. Whoosh.
That's good.
Thank you. I was proud of that one.
To be fair, we're not going to watch a whole lot of bobsledding, but
No. We are going to listen to a guy yell about it, though.
yes. So yeah, we did 2 videos this week, and again, the first one is very short and was kind of more on theme with the Olympics that are going on right now. But this one was a very short video produced by the Bodine team. A little mini documentary about their history of being an Olympic bobsled provider. It was only 7 minutes, and honestly, there isn't really a whole lot to even say about it, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Basically, the gist of it was the 92 Olympic team was absolute dog shit, and apparently the story was the Olympic team at that point was buying their sleds from, like, competitors in Europe. So, the idea was that the sleds were not very good, and that's why the team wasn't doing very well. And Jeff Bodine was like, America first, we're going to fucking fix this. He's just sitting at home watching the races. So
he got involved. I bleed red, white, and blue. And
he did. He did say that 100%. So, yeah, he got involved and there's no real information as to what they changed on the sleds other than building their own sleds. But basically, I guess in 96, the team started to turn around. This sled they built was called the Night Train. In 2002, they won a bunch of medals that, not gold, but they won a bunch of silvers and bronzes, which
certainly an improvement.
Yes, very much an improvement. And they were winning a bunch of other things in different bobsled competitions. In 2006, to help promote the sport, Jeff had a bunch of NASCAR drivers, including a young Joey Logano and a couple drag racers and other people come in and run these painted up sleds that looked like race cars. And really, the whole little documentary, again, there's no real information as to how the team improved the sleds. It was just like, we came in, we fixed it, and they started winning. And then in, 2010... was the first time the USA won gold in the bobsled games since 1947, and Jeff Bodine and his team are instrumental in that. But yeah, really, I thought we'd get a little more info, and also partially I wanted to see if Jeff said anything crazy, because Jeff is just a fucking weirdo and is always saying
that's
weird
what he's
stuff.
Good for. Yeah,
yeah, we didn't even get any of that. It was very short and I don't know. What do you guys have any other notes to say about this? Because
I thought it was cool. I wish there was more to it, because that story is super intriguing.
Like they really breezed through it.
Yeah, again, 7 minutes,
And I know they did a lot of
on this for.
Yeah, they did a lot of wind tunnel testing in North Carolina, I believe, and really just treated it as a race car and took some of the same thoughts and ideas behind it and built a winning sled. And it's a pretty cool story. And again, bobsled's one of the only events that I pay attention to at the Olympics. I didn't really so much this year, but I do want to give a shout out to Simona Di Silvestro for trying. She had a pretty rough run for the Swiss, but definitely cool to see an IndyCar driver out there, or former IndyCar driver, going for Olympic gold. And I don't know where the U.S. finished this year, but it doesn't matter. I didn't watch it. So
there's so many different events now at this point. Like, I've been trying to watch it a little bit, and all I've seen so far is like the two-man bobsleds going down.
Yeah.
So, and those have been the track that they're running is insane. It looks pretty brutal. So, I don't really know. I think Germany's been doing really well in that one.
That sounds right.
Yeah. But this video also ended with "to be continued ... and that was 2013. So
I guess they did.
Well, they're still involved. I looked. So the link that they provide in the video doesn't work, but there's another Bodine bobsled website, and that hasn't been updated since 2021. So who the hell knows what's going on there? But the main event was this 2003 Winston Cup preview fan cam video that I found. And this is another one of these videos that is very quintessential for this segment of the show, because it is both boring but also fascinating depending on how you take in this type of media. Because I was watching this with just trying to pick all these little things to talk about, and granted, it is literally just a guy sitting with a camcorder watching this show unfold in front of him. But I found it very interesting and for the most part fun to watch. But I've got plenty of notes here. So it starts off. So basically, this whole event it's held in like a little arena outside of Charlotte, and you've got tables set up around with drivers signing autographs, and in the center there's a stage with a band playing and a couple cars on display and whatnot. And the video, the majority of the video is just drivers being introduced and called up on stage and walked out by Winston girls, and there's a band playing the whole fucking time. And the video starts off, we've got Barney Hall kind of introducing all the drivers, and Jimmy Johnson is the first one that comes out, and again this band is playing all these different classic rock songs while these guys get walked out. We see Mike Wallace. I didn't take notes on every single driver, but I did take this note. So Mike Wallace was wearing a mid-90s Winston Select jacket, like from like one of the Charlotte races. He never won the Winston Select Open. I don't know why he was wearing this jacket. The thing was like 7 or 8 years old at this point. So why he decided to wear this at the event is beyond me.
It seemed to be a theme that everyone was wearing these giant leather jackets. So maybe he was like desperately scrambling to find a leather jacket to wear.
Yeah, but everybody else who had them on, they were all their actual current sponsors, and not just the fucking Winston Select jacket from 7 years ago. I will say the bright lights did not do Matt Kenseth any favors. He looked like sickly coming out. I thought it was very funny that they walked out, from this little entranceway in this arena, and they made sure all the seats all the way around the entrance were completely free of people. They didn't want any autograph hounds or
no
people
darfs.
touching drivers. Yeah, no darfs.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of the big name guys got big responses, like Jeff Gordon. He came out to Cat Scratch Fever. And then the camera guy follows Jeff back up the ramp and into whatever waiting area he's in, and just stays on that while other drivers are getting announced. Like, I don't know why he decided to do that. And a lot of this analysis is going to be about the camera guy.
Yeah, we missed Kenny Wallace's.
Missed Kenny Wallace. Dale Jr., of course, gets another massive response. And the camera guy tries to follow Dale Jr., but there's a bunch of people in the way. At this point in the video, the drivers come back out, like Dale and Jeff come out to sign autographs. We see Jimmy Johnson getting interviewed. The camera guy follows Jeff to his seat, and it seems like they're trying to figure out how to feed the fans to Jeff. And they do a little interview with Jeff, and he's just talking, basic preseason bullshit. Junior comes out, and he starts signing autographs, and he's wearing a very early 2000s striped long-sleeve shirt. Probably a Stussy shirt or something that came from PacSun, I'm assuming. While in line, a bunch of fans start getting asked trivia questions. In the background of all this, we hear different items being auctioned off. Like, I once owned a Kyle Petty hood that came from one of these auctions. I took notes on that. We see there was a Ricky Rudd quarter panel that ended up at like $375. A Todd Bodine fire suit at $650. Some of these, the actual auction end got cut off, but there was a Dale Jr. nose that went for about $1,000. A Wood Brothers deck lid from the 2001 Talladega Big One went for $150. There's a Terry Labonte quarter panel, bunch of tickets, blah, blah, blah. It was just interesting for me as a collector to hear that stuff. The camera guy focused a ton on Jeff Gordon signing autographs, and Jeff was very gracious with a lot of these fans. Very nice. He was talking to people, taking photos, obviously signing stuff, but Junior did not seem to put as much effort into it. But Jeff was there for a long time, it seemed like, and this guy was just focusing on him the whole time. So I found that interesting and not totally surprising to see Jeff be that good with fans. I feel like he's always had a pretty good reputation as far as fan interactions are concerned.
Yeah.
At one point, so Ned Jarrett and Junior Johnson are signing autographs, and the camera pans to, there's a big guy in a Dale Jr. sweatshirt trying to take a photo with both Ned and Junior Johnson, but like Junior's doing something else, and Ned is just kind of sitting there awkwardly with this guy with his arm around him, waiting for Junior to come over and take the photo. I got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of all this shit, as they're signing stuff, and this guy is just focusing on the people signing autographs, there are people rebuilding engines in the middle of the fucking stage. Like, there's a engine build-off happening, and this guy is just focusing on the driver signing autographs. I thought that was
cool.
A very interesting choice of, what to film there. Really, I would say, let's see, I got a note of... I saw a little kid that did not seem thrilled for his pick with Gordon, although he's probably just nervous. And really, after they announced a winner of the engine build-off, and I think it was the Hendrick team, I'm not 100% sure because the other team didn't have their team name highlighted as much. But yeah, I think the Jimmy Johnson's team won the engine build-off. And then after that, like the last 15, 20 minutes, it's literally just drivers being introduced. But in the middle of all these drivers, 20 other drivers get introduced, Jeff Gordon is still signing in the dark the whole time. Like the camera does pan over to him, and he's just still signing away throughout the whole thing. So, and also too, the last driver to come up on stage was Tony Stewart, and he rode his motorcycle on stage and picked up the Winston Cup trophy and kissed it and stuff. So, but yeah, the last 15 minutes is literally just drivers being introduced and then it's over with. But the first half hour I thought was very interesting. So I enjoyed this. I love weird time capsules like this, and this is something this was not a televised event, so this guy with the camera is the only way you would have seen any of this stuff. So
right, yeah.
I really enjoyed this. As maybe not as exciting as it was compared to other videos we watched, but just as a weird time capsule, I was thrilled. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, this one's not for the faint of heart. I'll say that. I had a hard time getting through it just because the times I chose to watch it were not times where, because you really need to dig in, and it's almost like digging through a thrift store or a record store or something and really pay attention and see all the weird shit going on. And I do love doing that. I just didn't have a headspace to do that this week. But very cool. You're definitely right. This is the only documentation I can think of this event in such a way. And I don't think people really realize what that event was. You hear the name thrown around a little bit, but I can't imagine what that would be like now.
Well, we talked about this last week. They did a tiny one, and it seemed like it got a good response. So maybe they'll try it again next year and promote it more. But
I would go to this. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I was in the same boat as Rob, is where maybe I wasn't in the right headspace. I do struggle a lot sometimes with old camcorder footage like this. It will make me motion sick sometimes. I'll get a really bad headache if I watch it for too long. So I was kind of struggling with that a bit with this, and there was a lot of time spent on driver intros, but I do appreciate that this footage even exists. I wish some professional footage existed of it, but I love that this guy, did capture it, and it has somehow ended up on the internet.
It's a very 80s through early 2000s thing to be the guy that brings the camcorder to everything and films it. And you don't realize what you're documenting when you did it, but it's awesome that this footage exists, and I will go back through this and actually pick through it.
Just once Kyle Petty is announced, you can turn it off, because the last 20 minutes, the first half hour is the interesting part.
I would wait until at least Donnie Allison comes out, because, boy, he looks like shit.
He does. He does look like shit. Yeah, I'm glad you guys kind of enjoyed it, but it's not. Yeah, this is not as bad as stop motion shit, but
no, I wouldn't even put that in the same category. That's its own little corner of the video of the week.
I would watch this any day of the week over.
Yes, this is the same category as old broadcasts or camcorder footage of the pits, that sort of thing. It definitely has its place, whereas stop motion needs to be erased from the internet. But that's just my opinion. Don't let me stop you from making videos at home.
All right, so video week this week. So I did not have a ton of time to comb through YouTube just because there was so much other racing shit going on that I wasn't going to do a deep dive. But I did pull one from my saved archives. This is one that a few people over the years of doing this show have brought up swamp buggy racing and how that used to be a thing. Yes. So we're finally going to watch that. I've got a video from 1998 from TNN, and I picked this one particularly because Dusty Rhodes is doing commentary, and there is some sort of weird wrestling storyline that goes on throughout the show.
Oh my God, yes. I grew up watching this shit on TNN, man. I'm so excited.
So yeah, unfortunately there's no commercials, but so it's only 45 minutes, but Swamp Buggy Racing from 1998 is going to be the video.
It'll be a Diamond P production. There's no question about that.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
To coincide with the Swamp Cabbage 100.
Yes.
A lot of swamp next week.
Swamp-themed week. Swamp week.
Yeah, well, that pretty much wraps things up this week. As we already mentioned, True Love will be at the race this weekend, and Rob and I will be watching from home. So, we'll be back with you on Tuesday to talk about what happened over the weekend. So, as always, you can follow us on Instagram at meetmeatapplebees. Also on YouTube, Meet Me at Applebee's. I am Speedway Screens on all the things. SpeedwayTSJ.etsy.com is the shop. And MMA Applebee's at checkout for 15% off.
Still Snake Mountain True Love. If anyone's going to be in Atlanta, hit me up. We can stand around in the cold, drink some beers. So.
Nice.
Yep.
Rob Moats _unofficial on Instagram. My band's called These Wild Plains. I will also be standing around drinking beers, but just at my house. So if you happen to be in the neighborhood,
it's a heater.
You can come by, I guess.
Probably not.
Probably not, but maybe. It's going to snow again this weekend. I'm pissed.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm over winter, man.
Yeah, well, looks like the check is here. So thanks for joining us again at Applebee's this week, and we'll talk to you all next week.